Now on CoastTV News.
Demolition or renovation? The future of the Army Reserve Center in Lewes continues.
Changes to the Ocean City Boardwalk. We're going to tell you what is on the table.
Empty spots where memorials once stood on the Georgetown Circle and where they'd find a permanent home.
And we're about to be surrounded by nothing but sunshine for the next few days.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Plans to repurpose this building in Lewes. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 5. We begin tonight with what will eventually be a new municipal complex for Lewes.
Here's the building up for debate, the former Army Reserve Center. This is off Savannah Road in Lewes near the Frederick D. Thomas Middle School. The property was acquired by the city in 2023, but now comes the tough part. Fix it up or tear it down. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is live there in Lewes. Emma, the city running into a few challenges when it comes to the building's future.
Maddie, this is the former Army Reserve Center. It will serve as a combined complex for the city, the police, and the public works. That's set in stone. What's not is whether the city will choose to renovate or demolish this building. At a meeting today, the city says this is an environmental decision and a financial decision going forward. This former Army Reserve building in Lewes sits on over 5 acres of land.
Maybe that building has seen better days.
The building will soon serve as a municipal complex for the city, the police, and the Board of Public Works. But the city is still discussing whether to renovate the current structure or demolish the building altogether. Dino Kostas says he just wants whichever is most cost-effective.
Like most projects, it's going to involve a lot of time and money. Disruption.
The city says they've already done phase 1 of an environmental study to test for contamination and hazardous materials, and now the plan is to do phase 2 for even more information. Patricia Nielsen, who lives near the building, wants it to stay.
I hope that they don't tear it down. You know, fix it up like they did with the school.
The city says given the age of the site, it's hard to be sure what's below the surface since there are no environmental records from the building's first few decades. Whether it's rebuilt or restored, this old reserve will soon be drafted into a brand new mission. At the meeting today, the city mentioned that the Army did conduct their own study several years ago, and they did find some asbestos in the building, but now the city wants to do their own environmental study. Live in Lewes, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
In related news to what you just heard from Emma, according to the City of Lewes, the inside of the building was tested for lead by the Army in 2021. Lewes says that testing did find large amounts of lead that exceeded their standards, and to alleviate it would cost about $500,000.
Signs along the Ocean City Boardwalk may soon change forever. New signs may be placed all along the boardwalk. But that also means taking some already existing signs away. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe is in Ocean City. Kevin, the town wants to reduce clutter.
Charlie, along the Ocean City Boardwalk, there's currently around 670 signs along the 2.5-mile stretch. Now that's a lot, which is why the town council is trying to cut that down and replace those signs with blue and yellow signs being information spots, helping people understand where they are. They also want to add green and pink signs telling people what they can and can't do along the boardwalk. Now, one vacationer who grew up in Ocean City understands why some may want the current signs to stay.
I really like the nostalgic signs that have been here for so long, but I think it's nice to give people an idea of what they can and cannot do in certain areas if they've never been here before.
Now, according to the presentation that'll be happening tomorrow, the reason for these possible sign changes is to make sure visitors know where they're going when walking the boardwalk. I'm Kevin Zappe, live in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, how much should boardwalks change?
Let's take a look at the results so far. Take a look at your screen. 78% say minor updates, 14% say total makeover, 6% say just repairs, and 2% say no change.
And we do have a comment today. Karen from Long Neck says, quote, "Long live the good times in Ocean City Boardwalk creates. Bring back the tram," unquote. If you haven't voted yet, you still can do that. Go to coasttvnews.com or use the mobile app. And we're taking a live look into Lewes right now. It has been a nice couple of days, in fact, as we check in with our chief meteorologist, Paul Williams.
Well, today was so beautiful. I think it's called take your favorite weatherman out for a vegan meal day. I'm declaring it right here, okay? But overall, hey, it's been a really gorgeous day, and we've enjoyed the fruits thereof. At Laurel, we're at 73 degrees. Winds right now out of the southwest at about 7 miles per hour. And as far as Laurel is concerned, we're going to drop down to like 59 degrees under mostly clear skies. Things have gotten just better. If you notice you're breathing better, well, that's because our air quality has improved and the pollen count has dropped as well. Now, we still have a little bit of a nuisance along the coast right now, particularly for the beaches. We have a small craft advisory. Now, that simply means that we have like 20, 25 mile per hour wind gusts really along the shore throughout the Delmarva Peninsula if you're located on a beach community. But if you're inland, it's not so much the problem. As far as this evening is concerned, we will drop back to 55 degrees generally for everybody. Then we'll dip to 51, mostly clear skies with the wind staying relatively light. So we have a bit of radiational cooling that's happening, but it's not cooling to the point where we have to worry about being cold. It's almost a picture perfect situation. Will it stay that way is the question. I'll show you what I'm tracking. So then back to you, Maddie.
All right, Paul, thank you very much. To Georgetown now, where we're talking about damaged memorials on the Circle. You're looking at fallen patrolman Chad Spicer's memorial, which was knocked over in a car accident. Tonight, Town Council is discussing alternate locations for 3 memorials. However, Ruth Ann Spicer, Chad Spicer's mother, says she wants her son's legacy to be remembered on the Circle.
He would speak to you whether he knew you or not, but he was here to help people in any way that he could. And I don't want them to forget that.
Tonight's Town Council meeting is at 6:45 p.m. Chad Spicer's daughter Aubrey will be there to speak.
Tonight in Milton, Town Council will have an update on the ongoing due diligence process related to buying several lots downtown. There's 6 lots the town is looking to buy. The cost of that land, $1.65 million. A report on survey work, topography, mapping, and soil testing is set to be presented. The town says one potential use for the space includes the construction of a 26,000 square foot building that could serve multiple municipal purposes.
President Trump promised to shake things up in his second term as president, and in his first 100 days, he has changed the federal government. NBC's Melanie Zanona shows us with one day before that 100-day milestone, Trump's approval rating is slipping, with polls showing serious warning signs for the administration.
On the eve of his 100th day in office, Americans weighing in on President Trump's performance. New polls show signs of concern for the administration. His overall approval rating falling in recent months. The NBC News Stay Tuned poll finding only 45% of adults approve of his job performance. But it's not only NBC News. Nearly every recent poll showed the same results.
I won on the fact that we're going to be doing this. We have to be allowed to do it. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country any longer.
Immigration, the president's signature issue, getting the highest rating.
Today, as I'm standing here, we are the most secure border in the history of this nation.
But still more people disapprove of the crackdown. Only 49% back the moves. And today, the administration facing backlash for the way it handled deporting a mother and removing her U.S. citizen children, including a 4-year-old cancer patient. Immigration advocates say he now doesn't have access to his medication.
What we did is remove children with their mothers who requested the children depart with them. This was a parental decision.
While the White House defends the controversial moves, the president also facing scrutiny on the economy and his newly imposed tariffs on adversaries and allies. According to the NBC News poll, only 40% of America approves of the way Trump is handling inflation, and even fewer, 39%, approves of his trade and tariff decisions. President Trump attacking the polls and the people who conducted them, insisting that he is making strides on the economy.
It's all coming down. It's all looking good. The tariffs are strong.
And a new development tonight, Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared a 3-day ceasefire in Ukraine. The truce will be from May 8th to the 11th. Those dates coincide with World War II commemorations. Putin has called on Ukraine to do the same. Russia has previously rejected a U.S. proposal for a 30-day ceasefire that was agreed to by the Ukrainian government.
Cardinals today set May 7th as the start date for the conclave that will elect Pope Francis's successor, delaying the secret voting so they can get to know one another better and find consensus on a candidate before they're sequestered in the Sistine Chapel. Rounds of voting will continue until one candidate receives a 2/3 supermajority, and that can take several days. Heads up for the visitors to BB Healthcare this weekend, the temporary parking restrictions that are in place that you need to be aware of in Lewes.
And this could be a great beach week as conditions are expected to quickly warm up, particularly by Wednesday.
Breaking down food waste, how a new machine at the Food Bank of Delaware in Milford helping the environment. Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
The Food Bank of Delaware in Milford unveiled their new machine this morning, which helps break down food waste.
It's called the Orca, and it can process between 800 and 1,000 pounds of food wasted in a 24-hour period.
This food digester gets loaded during the day in 20, 30, 40-pound increments in a very simple way for the staff at the food bank.
It uses air, microbes, water, and temperature to digest and accelerate the digestion of organic food waste. It is very similar to a mechanical stomach with biology involved to, as a byproduct, have only liquid come out and go to its end goal of wastewater treatment instead of the landfill.
The Food Bank of Delaware says that, for example, food that might be expired will be put into the Orca so it gets into the environment safely.
Take a look at our Bay forecast. We're going to warm to 80 degrees on Tuesday, then 84 on Wednesday in Cambridge. Then we'll drop to 72 degrees. Then we'll drop to 72. Yeah, you definitely got to stick around for this beach forecast. So, to be quite honest, this is why we moved to a beach community for days like this. And for such an event such as this, it is a pleasure to do your forecast for you. Take a look. Our Irish Eyes camera in Lewes, 73 degrees, with the winds out of the south, 9 miles per hour. For tonight, we're going to have mainly clear skies. We'll drop down to 59 degrees in Lewes as early as 9 o'clock. Here's a look at the temps right now. We're at 67 in Lewes, but 60 in Rehoboth. However, much warmer as you move farther inland. 72 in Georgetown and in Millsboro, 75 Bridgeville, 74 Seaford. The winds gently cascading out of the south at this point, gusting right between, let's say, 3 to up to even 18 miles per hour. For example, Indian River Inlet, it's always breezier there if you've noticed. Here's a bit of good news I want to pass along to you. The air quality has reverted from moderate to good. We're all green light and a go throughout the entire Delmarva Peninsula, and that's a good thing. Now, the winds have picked up a little. We do have a small craft advisory for Rehoboth Beach, Ocean View, down towards Fenwick Island, as well as Chincoteague and Ocean City. And we have that same concern over towards Cambridge. Now, as we widen the scope here, you'll notice a great deal of emptiness. You see that? High pressure doubling down, tripling down. Actually, there's 3 H's, tripling down, so to speak, across our neck of the woods. But it's creating a dome of high pressure that keeps everything calm, cool, and collected. The pollen forecast, another reason why you're breathing better. Take a look at this. Trees are now on the low side, mold is on the low side, grass is on the low side, dust and dander was on the low side. But I didn't have to check these numbers because Charlie walked in today and his nose wasn't running and he wasn't sneezing. So I knew it was a good pollen day. 82 degrees for us in Lewes, 77 in Rehoboth. Now we're going to warm to 80 in Cambridge with winds out of the southwest at 7 to 14 miles per hour, 72 for the high in Ocean City. Take a quick peek at our expectations for Tuesday morning, clear. By the afternoon, we're into the 70s and low 80s. We may get a sprinkle or two briefly, and that's only, and I think that's an anomaly on the model run, to be quite honest. For Wednesday afternoon, we're going to have temperatures in the 80s, and then we'll have temperatures settling into the 60s throughout the overnight. For the most southern portion of our viewing area, we may get a brief sprinkle or two overnight, Tuesday night going into early Wednesday, but Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, we're still going to be in the 60s. We'll go from 71 to 72 for Chincoteague with no threat of rain. Increasing cloud cover, though. For Ocean City, 64 to 72, back down to 66. Now, it's only on the beaches where the temperatures ping pong back and forth, but in Lewes, we're going to stay in the 80s for 2 days in a row before we drop by 10 degrees. So in summarizing our expectation for tonight, mostly clear, slight cool in the air, 49. For tomorrow, sunshine with more sunshine. By the way, it's going to become soon. We're going to have to start talking about the UV index so you don't get burned easily. And then 84 for us on Wednesday. Scattered clouds as we warm up nicely. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast. Now, it rolls like this. We're going to stay in the 80s for the next 2 days in a row. Then we'll drop to the 70s, but it's still not going to be a cold day. And we'll hold off until Saturday for the next round of rain. And of course, Monday is Cinco de Mayo.
Paul, thank you. Looking ahead, BB says visitors can expect the parking garage at the main entrance of Lewes to be closed this weekend. There's going to be some cleaning happening there. If you're visiting, BB says you'll be able to find parking in the exterior lots around campus. The parking garage will open back up after weekend cleaning on Monday, May 5th.
Drivers in Georgetown can expect a closure at Deep Branch Road between Zoar Road and Peterkins Road starting next Monday. Crews are going to be replacing a crossroad pipe. Work should last until Friday, May 23rd.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, your game of the night, 5:30. Indian River hosts Padua in girls soccer. Then at 10:30, the final score. For your DSN exclusives, it's a night of lacrosse. Coming up, Cesar Rodney versus Queen Anne's at 5:30. Then at 6:15, you can watch North Carolina at Cape Henlopen.
And after the break, parents paying more for baby gear, how Trump's tariffs are driving up the prices. Stay tuned on CoastTV News at 5. Parents now face higher baby gear costs due to President Trump's tariffs. Trump slapped a 145% tariff on imports from China and a 10% minimum tax on all other countries. Retailers and trade policy experts say the vast majority of children's and baby gear products are manufactured exclusively in China. They also say those products cannot be produced in other countries anytime soon. The online baby registry Baby List says stroller prices have increased 25% on average.
President Trump says that he believes U.S. ships should not have to pay to use the Panama Canal or Egypt's Suez Canal. The comments come as he continues threatening to retake the Panama Canal. Trump took to Truth Social saying in part, quote, American ships, both military and commercial, should be allowed to travel free of charge through those canals. He also says that Panama is charging the U.S., quote, exorbitant rates to use the canal.
And airline CEOs this month warned Wall Street that passengers going on domestic trips, it's looking lower than they had hoped when they set forecast high in the start of 2025. For their reasoning, CEOs say volatile markets and most notably economic uncertainty. Delta, Southwest, United Airlines all said that they will cut back plans after what they still hope to be a strong summer travel season. All this is leading to cheaper plane tickets as airfares fell 5.3% in March from last year.
A former Disney employee who hacked into the company's servers has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. His job had been to create menus for Disney's restaurants. Court documents say the man hacked into the Disney menu creation servers multiple times to manipulate the menus, such as changing prices and adding profane language. He also altered allergen information on those menus. Here's a live look now outside into Dover. One more check on our forecast after this.
Coming up new on CoastTV News at 6, a new medic station in Millsboro, how first responders say this location will serve the community.
All right, let's talk about what's happening in the community. We're all the way up in Dover right now, courtesy of our Bay Health camera, and we're at 72 degrees right now. Winds are primarily pushing out to the south at about 8 miles per hour. We anticipate that we're going to stay with clear skies throughout most of the state in general, and then we'll drop back to about 63 degrees as early as 9 o'clock in the evening hours. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Kathleen Leposki of Lewes. Congratulations being our umbrella winner. By the way, you got to come by the station and pick that up. It's courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling. If you keep it up with your forecast and how gorgeous it's going to be and stay, listen, be sure you call our weather line. The number is 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Bruxted, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your 10-day forecast. Now, we are looking for 80 to 84 degrees for the next couple of days. We'll dip down to 72. Back to the 80s we go on Friday, and then a chance of showers on Saturday.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we're going to see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.